Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a Friday, yes. Welcome to it. Always the best time of the week. A Friday, of course, edition of Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show with me, Usihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. Welcome to it. If you want to get in touch with us here at the show, of course, our website, remember, is www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can also pledge some support, will you? How about you pledge 100 Rand a month? Join the slowly growing number of subscribers who are putting aside $100 a month through the various payment methods available on the website to support this show. Please do that. And remember, if you're watching us on, whether you're watching rather on YouTube or on Facebook, help grow the audience by liking the Facebook page and, of course, hitting that subscribe button on YouTube, pardon me, and the bell notification so that every weekday morning from 7 a.m. you're notified when the show is on. Yes, that's right. We help you start your news day, but our friends over at the Daily Friend, that's right, the Daily Friend, which comes to you Mondays to Thursday at 1:30 p.m. live, they'll help you wrap up your news day. Now, with that jibber jabber out the way, how about we get straight into the news? Okay, we begin in Parliament, of course. Remember, Parliament being at the moment in the Cape Town City Hall because, a certain Billy Goat Gruff is alleged to have burnt down Parliament. Billy Goat Gruff. Anyway, Parliament, the medium-term budget policy speech, which is a speech delivered by the Finance Minister. The Finance Minister at the moment is Enoch Godongwana. This speech, of course, sets out what government's expenditure and debt and revenue will look like over a certain period, 3 years, looking into the future. It's projections, basically, but an important speech nonetheless, because it gives us a sense of where finances and money will be allocated based on policies of government heading forward. Now, this year's speech, well, before we even get into this year's speech, was disrupted by the usual crowd. Before the Finance Minister even got up to speak, this happened.
As long as that is within the confines of the rules of the National Assembly. That is exactly.
Except that you are not audible, Honorable Shivambu.
I can start from scratch.
No, don't start. Start where you left off.
I was saying that you can't instruct the members of Parliament to lower the placards because it is permitted in terms of the rules of the National Assembly to display pamphlets.
Yeah, that's right. The usual attention whores, the red in tooth and claw commies who sit in Parliament, demanding their pound of attention, pound of flesh, if you will, in attention, as is usually has become the usual case, rather banal. Grouping that. But in any event, once that nonsense was out of the way, the Finance Minister got to actually delivering this particular speech. I must reiterate this. I'm not going to give a full breakdown right now of the speech. We'll do that this Sunday on Liberty and Friends at 8 p.m. with me and the Friends panel breaking down the speech and giving you solid analysis, the good, the bad, and the ugly on this. So for now, I want to focus on one component of this particular speech, which is debt. That is the one thing which is, if anything, an existential threat to South Africa right now. This government and its rapacious appetite for borrowing money, borrowing that money, by the way, against you, the citizen. I want to read from News 24 in this regard, which set out exactly the numbers involved here, writing that government debt has spiraled in recent years from 577 billion rand in the year 2007-08 to an expected, get this, 4.75 trillion with a T this year, due to volatile financial markets which have pushed interest costs higher. The cost of repaying this debt will be almost 6 billion rand higher than expected in February. But then, of course, News 24 pointing out that but income tax has been surprisingly high, thanks mainly to high commodity prices, which delivered what they call super profits to mines. I'll get back to that in a moment as to why it's problematic. In the current year, gross tax revenue is now estimated to be almost 93 billion rand higher than what was expected in the February budget and almost 84 billion rand more than last year, end of quote. Now, very quickly, I want to quickly, because I don't want people to be dribbled here. Whenever you talk about government finances, you're always told about how taxes are higher and the government is collecting more money, yada, yada, yada. But this can dribble people, because the real issue when it comes to dealing with finances, or rather looking at the finances of government, is to look at the spending equation, how much government spends. Because ultimately what a government spends is the real tax on you, not what it collects. In this regard, government spending in this country hasn't really slowed down in significant terms. I mean, the same article points out that spending has, slowed down a fraction, but a fraction is not what's needed in this country. If our finances are to really improve, and indeed, if we're to pay back the debt and make the government more efficient, an almost misnomer in itself, spending has to slow down. We have to stop spending government money as if it is in bountiful amounts. It will never run out. That is the ideology, if you will, or the approach of irresponsible politicians fiscally, who believe that they can spend their way out of trouble. You and I don't do this when it comes to our personal finances at home. We don't suddenly believe that if we continue spending our salaries irresponsibly, and worse than that, borrow on top of what we've already spent, maybe from our credit cards, that somehow that is responsible house finances. If we don't do it at the home, government should not be doing it at the state level. But anyway, more on this and better analysis this Sunday on Liberty and Friends. Join me with the Friends panel as we'll unpack the speech and give you the insight and analysis you will not get anywhere else. All right, taking you from Cape Town now, Parliament, I now take you to Ekurhuleni, that metro, which, after we spoke about the city of Johannesburg's shenanigans there with their mayor, Mpho Phalatse, having, of course, had her motion of no confidence overturned in the courts, bringing her back into the seat as mayor of Johannesburg, while her colleague in Ekurhuleni, Mayor Tania Campbell, of course, who was the head of the coalition government in Ekurhuleni, a DA mayor herself, now she's been removed from office via a motion of no confidence. I want to read from this quick piece in IOL, which broke down the parties that actually voted against her. Now, the DA has faced another defeat after their mayor in Ekurhuleni, Tania Campbell, was removed from the position during a motion of no confidence on Wednesday. Campbell faced a motion of no confidence from the minority party caucus, which consisted of the following parties: the AIC, the ICM, the PAC, which is the Pan-Africanist Congress, UDM, United Democratic Movement, the ATM, the NFP, and COPE. That being said, the motion itself was actually brought by the ANC, and a total of 100 councillors supported her removal, while 93 voted against, end of quote. Now, it's interesting to note that with all those parties in that mix, the EFF actually said, stuff it, folded its arms, and opted not to vote in any particular direction in this regard. A rather interesting development in that regard. Again, one which we'll keep an eye on, because it speaks to what we spoke about yesterday, which is coalition governments are receiving an insanely bad rap right now with the public, as the DA, Action SA, and all these other small parties seemingly struggling to hold together an agreement and hold together a government, if you're in a coalition government, in the face of what will always be attempts by the ANC, who's now in opposition, to unseat them. How will this play out in Ekurhuleni, and will it compound what is already likely going to be another ruckus period in the city of Johannesburg too, with likely the ANC there looking to table another motion of confidence against Dr. Mpho Phalatse, who you'll remember I said is back in office. So that being said, the question in my mind is, what do residents of Ekurhuleni think? Maybe their voice should be heard in this particular case, because right now, the overall image of coalition politics in this country, especially at these metros, is not leaving a good taste in anybody's mouth. All right, as is custom here on Vuka Nazo, the Friday edition of the show, we either have a champ of the week or Moemish of the week. This week's Moemish of the week is Matshela Koko, former CEO of ESKOM, who had a dark cloud of corruption hanging over him, finally arrested by law enforcement. Matshela Koko is our Moemish of the week. Now, what makes Matshela Koko the Moemish of the week? Well, this is the same chap who for the very longest time, especially on social media, was acting like his crap don't stink. Oh no, he told us, I'm never gonna get arrested. I did nothing wrong. Well, like Akon said, he's now locked up and looking to face charges of corruption. Now, I'm going to read quickly from an independent piece which wrote up the story and also gave us some insight as to why he's being arrested, citing that former ESKOM acting chief executive Matshela Koko, his wife also Umosima, and his stepdaughter Ukoketso Choma have been arrested on corruption charges. The article goes on to explain, and cites News 24 oddly, that the arrest of Koko, his wife and stepdaughter, relates to a multi-billion rand contract that ESKOM had entered to with Swiss engineering company Asseya Brown Bovee, back of course in 2014. End of quote. Now, of course, why his family is involved is that the allegation is upon receiving this particular contract in an irregular fashion, Koko effectively siphoned off 30 million rand to his stepdaughter. I want to quickly put an image of her. Oops, there it is on there. That picture, trust me, went viral on social media for all the wrong reasons perhaps, and you can see why. But in any event, that's the allegations. And Koko, having now been arrested, it'll be interesting to see how he squares this circle insofar as having for the longest time told us that he's done nothing wrong. Law enforcement now must act and hopefully justice will be served. The Moemish of the week, Matshela Koko. All right, that's it from us here at Vuka Nazo, the Friday edition. Happy Friday, everybody. Please enjoy your wonderful, wonderful weekends. If you're Jewish, happy Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom. And of course, remember, if you want to get in touch with us here at the show, it's super easy. Find us at our website, www.bigdaddyliberty.com. And yeah, do me a solid favor if you're watching this broadcast, especially on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and of course smash that bell notification so that every weekday from 7 a.m. you're notified when Vuka Nazo is on your screen. Happy weekend. I'll see you on Sunday, 8 p.m. for Liberty and Friends.